It is November 18th, 6 p.m. I'd like to welcome everybody out to the City Council meeting this evening. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Sands, and I will give us the opening prayer this evening.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're so grateful that we could come together this evening as City Council and members of our city. I'd like to thank you for our wonderful staff that we have here at the city that helps keep the city run and keeps us out of trouble. I'd like to thank you for this wonderful town we have to serve in. And please bless us with more rain as we need it. We thank you for the rain that we have. Please bless us with snow on the mountains, and hopefully this year will be a good wet year. And please bless us with as much snow as we can get. I'd like to thank you for this wonderful country we have to live in. I'd like to thank all the wonderful veterans that have served us over the years. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
If anyone else would like an opening statement or alternate prayer, come forward. All right, we are going to move into approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to strike business item E2 from the agenda. And then
I have a motion, and everything else is good the way it is?
everything else is
Okay.
good.
I need a second. All in
Second.
favor of that?
Aye.
Thank you. Disclosure and declarations conflict.
I have none.
Anybody? That's what I like to hear. All right, consent agenda, review and possible approval of meeting minutes from November 5th, 2025, City Council meeting.
Mayor,
Make
make
a
a
motion that
motion.
we approve the meeting minutes from November 5th, City Council.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? No. All right, review and possible approval of city expenditures from October 2025.
Anybody have any comments on it?
Any highlights, Ben?
Nothing noteworthy.
Pretty straightforward.
I
Mayor,
have a comment. Just want to recognize the fact that our city manager is doing a good job of controlling the expenditures that we've got, being that our revenue is not currently on course because property taxes haven't arrived yet. But in the meantime, he's doing a good job of keeping the expenses and revenue at the same percentage. So just want to acknowledge that he's doing a good job there. Thank you, Ben.
All right. Need a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the city expenditures for October 2025.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, before we go to our public forum, I'm going to have Todd give us a little report on the mosquitoes.
Financials first, right? We did the expenditures, we have to do the financials.
That's all part of
That is-
So, yeah, those are
Is that
just part,
both?
yeah, that's all part
Okay.
of the,
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, my
no,
mistake.
you're good.
Okay.
So how's the mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes. So mosquito board met last week. They are operating within their budget, so no tax increases, anything like that. There was 3 cases of West Nile virus in Washington County. They were all around Washington Dam. And what happens is we get West Nile appearing in Salt Lake and up northern Utah, and then the birds bring it down with them when they fly down here. And that's how most of the time we get our West Nile. Service calls have increased exponentially. In 2023, it was 108. Last year was 174. This year was 369 service calls. So that's good that everybody is notifying the district when they are getting bit or seeing mosquitoes, that kind of stuff. And then again, the biggest thing again is the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, which are coming here. And that's one of the biggest pushes. It appears they're here now to stay. And they can bite you during not only nighttime, but daylight hours too. So the district kind of thinks that they're coming in from potting soil, things like that, from out of state, and it's being bought here. And they can form in just like a cap full of water.
Yeah.
So So there is the public health advisor. I think we have some flyers up front. Take it and if you do start noticing it, call the district, have a service call. There's no charge for it. It's part of your taxes. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Todd. Anybody got questions for Todd about mosquitoes? Thank goodness it's not mosquito season anymore.
That's right.
So with all this moisture would just, yeah. All right, we're going to move into our public forum portion of the meeting. Pretty much bring up anything you want that is not in our business items. So public forum is now open. Please state your name and you have 3 minutes to say what you want. Okay, we're going to close our public forum. We're going to move into our business items. Item E1, discuss a possible action amendments to employee policy and procedures manual. Ben, you want to go over the changes real quick?
Yeah, happy to provide some introduction here. So as we mentioned in a prior meeting, we will have a couple findings in our financial audit for fiscal year 2025. A lot of those were actually already remedied by adopting the employee policies and procedures that we did a couple weeks ago. There were a couple of recommendations for adding language that is recommended by the state auditor's office. All of those are included in the red line. It only constitutes a few paragraphs, this proposed amendment to our employee policies and procedures. And if we want to get into the details of those amendments, we can. It's kind of, generic fraud risk management language is what we're looking at.
Any questions?
Yeah, explain the non-entity use of equipment. What kind of equipment are you renting out?
Equipment may not be rented for commercial use, meaning that the city doesn't rent our own equipment, non-entity use of equipment. So we're not making available our equipment to be rented out for the.
So is this going to be strike?
No, this is new language.
Because certain equipment in Toccoa City may be rented for personal use by employees and the public based upon a fee schedule. I
When
didn't know you
rented
were
for
renting.
personal use, maybe
equipment
rented for
out.
personal use.
Can't rent anything out.
Maybe it is at a non-entity use of equipment.
And I rent your backhoe is what it's saying. How much are you going
If
to
it's,
charge?
I mean, if it's on the fee schedule, then it could be rented, but it's excluded from. I have to apologize. It is not included on the fee schedule, and that would be said if it got to that point. Apologies.
So what are we renting?
Nothing until it's included on the fee schedule, right? So
I haven't seen that schedule, so I was curious to see if we're
The
renting.
fee
stuff out.
schedule would determine what it is. So let's
Yeah,
just
it's like renting the park or renting
Yeah.
something, there's a fee for it.
if there was like stage equipment or something that the city owned and we were going to rent it out, it's not saying they're going to rent a backhoe. They're probably never going to put a backhoe on here to rent.
Yeah.
But like if there was,
If you wanted to have a family reunion at the park, you
Yeah.
wanted to use the stage, you could rent the stage, but you can't do it for a commercial.
yeah, St. George City rents up their finish line banners and things like that to other race things. So it was probably intended for something in that nature.
right, and there is an accommodation for that currently in the fee schedule, but it's tied to smaller equipment, things like speakers and microphones, that sort of audio-visual stuff.
Yeah, I think the flat top grills, I think they're on there. There's some stuff down at the park that's on the fee schedule. So you can, rent the
Chairs
park.
and
And, yeah,
So you're not going to rent out your D10.
no.
We got a D10?
So,
So we're only looking at the pages where changes were made since
Correct.
the last time we looked at this.
Yep, there are only, I believe, 4 pages in total that this is touching.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't see anything out of line in there. Pretty straightforward. Gary's the expert on there. Do you see anything weird?
It's all security stuff
Yeah.
related to protecting the city, monitoring the internet and all that other good stuff. So I would go ahead and motion that we go ahead and approve the employee policies and procedures manual.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is approved. Item E3, discussion of possible action on approving an MOU for the Westfield Connector Road access. Did we get some numbers put together? I didn't look into that. I just saw it was back on here, so.
Yeah, so the last time this item was tabled was to give direction to get the position from the fire district on the proposal, and that response is included in your meeting packet, which essentially, in short, said that this would not serve as an emergency access from the fire district's perspective, based on the improvements as proposed by the city. So after that, and that was the extent of the additional work that was done in reviewing this MOU.
All right. Questions?
I don't know whether they're worried about their 75,000 pound requirement. Are they thinking their fire truck's gonna sink?
I don't know.
That's just their,
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
their
their weight
standard.
limitations and ratings, so.
You know, there was rock trucks on there at a gross weight of
Oh, yeah.
73,000 pounds on that road for months. That road's supposed to be okay, except in the rains.
Does the
Well,
city currently have any signs or anything down there that the city's placed?
There's signs but with no language on them. They're just red reflector signs that are restricting access.
Okay, so there's nothing like,
Yeah.
okay. Does anybody else have any comments on
I think we talked about it quite a bit in the last meeting. One of the comments, and I don't think that's been brought up, is there has been some conjecture that some past city officials have stated that there's some sort of a verbal agreement between the city and the developer that when the bypass was built, or when the parkway was built, that Westfield Road was supposed to be completed also at that same time. And that conjecture has been out there, but no one's come forward to speak with the city manager, the city attorney to find out if this so-called verbal agreement is actually binding.
Yeah, so that's been brought up a few different times. And from our perspective, from a legal perspective, I know that initially the project was faced that it would be developed in the order that Westfield Road would have been completed a lot sooner. But as far as any sort of agreement that the developer made, we're not aware of any. We've asked and they've told us there is none, sorry. We believe they have the right to develop their property, at their pace, according to the phases that make sense to them. So we can't force a timeline as far as when Westfield Road needs to be open. I know that has been a source of confusion in the past, but there's no agreement with the developer. I think it was more so just the hope that they would develop in that order, but it sounds like just infrastructure costs made that not feasible.
Okay, so, and then, I think Councilman Chase did a good job of explaining some of the fiscal responsibilities there with the city and how many people are actually being affected by it. And also, I think he did a good job of talking about how much time might be added if the residents have to continue the way they've been going for the last 20 years. So I think that's a viable concern. I want to get that road connected and done too, but I don't want the city to pay for it. It's in the development agreement. So when Firelight brings it along, I think that's great. I know that one of the concerns was the fire district, and the fire district made their response, and it also aligns with what I brought up before, which is our Tokerville City Code 10-21-7, which is the roads, and that talks about roads shall be designed to provide emergency access and egress for residents, occupants, and emergency equipment, providing width, curb radius, strength for emergency and maintenance vehicles used by or built for the city. So we have that question of how are we going to make sure that this adheres to our city code, making sure that the road is adequate strength. Who's going to certify that? We talked about that before. So I think that's another viable concern. The last concern, which we talked about before, is if we're going to focus on doing this for Westfield Road, there's other areas in the city that also have an issue with not having more than one access way, whatever term you want to use on it. And you can look at Cholla, you can look at Shangri-La and up through Tocqueville Heights. You can also look at TRE. That's a different issue, TRE, but I think if we're going to do something like this, then I think we ought to consider doing it for Cholla and looking at what we can do in Shangri-La.
All right. Was that a motion?
No, I was yes, for my comments.
was
and those were
close.
my
No,
comments.
It appears you can't get it in compliance to have an emergency access, which this was brought up for, and originally was for emergency access. And they're not going to accept it in the way it is. And they're not going to accept it if you put 2 inches of cinders or 2 inches of type 2 on it, because it's not load rated, in their opinion. It is load
Right,
rated,
yeah.
but not when it's wet. But when it's wet, you put a little bit on there and it's still not going to do it. It'll just go right in there. So I don't know why we are trying to open this road if our goal was emergency access. So if you open it up to the public, then what are we going to do when they get stuck? And how much money are we going to spend so they don't get stuck? Because it looks like you can spend $1,500 on maybe getting some cinders. Is that what I'm seeing right here from the BLM cinder pit?
Yeah, that was kind of some of the early estimates that we
But
put
you
to
can't
it.
put enough on there to deal with inclement weather.
Mhm.
You can put 2 inches on there, and as soon as it rains, it sink right in. Then you got a mess. I just don't. We don't have the money for it. We don't have the money budget for it. $1,500 is not even going to get you 5 truckloads from there to here. I don't know what you're all thinking. Emergency access is not going to happen, so.
All right, well, if there's no motion, it'll die on the floor. and
I'll make a
carry on.
motion. I'll make a motion that we deny the approval for the Westfield Road Connector License Agreement.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any more discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item E4, discussion of possible action on ordinance 2025, and ordinance amending and restating Title 7, Chapter 6 of Tocqueville City Code to clarify requirements for the maintenance of trees, shrubs, bushes, and other vegetation in public streets, sidewalks, and rights of way.
This is just a housekeeping item, just so that if we're having issues with bushes or anything blocking the sidewalk, or even like a water meter or a utility box, that we can enforce it, because the code previously just said trees.
Trees, right. This covers everything else.
Correct.
So,
This is a substantial change. It's like less than 20 words. Probably take an hour to discuss this one.
don't make you drag it out.
Take it away.
I got one comment on this one, Mayor, if I can. I'm concerned with the 13-foot height. And I know that's not in the blue, and maybe Wayne, you can help me out with this, but tractor trailers, I think the max height is 13.6. I think RVs and campers are like 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4. And then if you look at UDOT's administrative rule R909-2-4, it says the height allowable is 14 feet. So I would think we would need to increase that a little bit. I don't know if we want to go with just 14, or maybe we go with like 14.6 or 15 feet, so there's a buffer. I'm not sure if anybody smarter than me has input.
Oh, that's a tall truck, 13 feet. That'd be tall.
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
had some-
I mean,
I got a limb that hangs over at 13.7, and I haven't seen anything 12 feet.
okay. I just
But some of
don't,
the underpasses
Yeah.
are 13.9, some of the older ones, most of them are
Yeah.
14 now, but
and if you go up, UDOT's legal height, width, and length, it lists height 14 feet. So they allow that. So I'm not sure. I don't know, Darren or somebody.
Yeah.
hopefully we don't have that huge of stuff driving around on the
Yeah.
on the city
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah.
But Main Street, yeah, you're gonna have that, but
I don't know right off the top of my head what UDOT standards are. If you've read it, then that's
Yeah.
probably what it is.
I mean, we got plenty of clearance for big trucks going down the main drag, but we've got a couple streets that are, got trees that are there, but you can
For
still
sure.
go room. I try to clean 14 on that dang road I'm living at. Don't have a problem with it, but.
So should we make it 14?
Well, I'm a little nervous about this because whoever goes out and tries to enforce this is going to run into a brick wall. Because Tocqueville, if you look at Tocqueville streets in the city, it's like Santa Clara, it's like Rockville, everything kind of overgrows and drapes, and it looks beautiful. So I don't want to be cutting everything down that we don't have to cut.
Just to make code.
Just minimal code.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's safe, but you don't want to go crazy and
Right.
take the character away from the city because it's beautiful.
Mhm.
I mean, you go down, I mean, we have to prune these ones on the main street, but they're out there
Right.
and they're good. And I just don't want to be too restrictive here. And
Right.
we do need the sidewalks. Yeah, I'd like to see the sidewalks where we could actually walk under some of them. And 8 feet is a pretty decent height, I guess, for that.
Yeah.
You don't want to,
Yeah. And I
tall guy
mean,
with a cowboy hat will knock
Right.
it off, but
I mean, here it says commercial vehicles may operate within the legal height dimension of 14 feet. This is determined by measuring from the surface of the road and the highest point on the loaded vehicles. So UDOT's saying 14 feet. So shouldn't we align our code with UDOT and the
I think
state?
14 feet.
You don't necessarily have to, but I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea because if they're permitted to drive on those roads, then
Right.
you might as well make sure that they're not going to be scraping trees.
That's a
Good
UDOT
point.
road, but we don't have to have them allow that on city streets.
You don't, yeah.
So if we want to keep our
Yeah.
canopy at 13 feet,
So we,
You could,
so
yeah.
will we have to add restrictions in for height for the vehicles driving within the city?
I don't know if we have any height restrictions for vehicles driving within the city, do we?
I don't know of any.
So at that point, it'd probably just be whatever
I need to
UDOT
research.
specifies.
Say that again?
We wouldn't be bound to follow it, but I mean, it'd be implied that whoever could drive on a UDOT road could also drive on our road. Because we don't have any height limitations and UDOT allows up to 14 feet.
Anything over 12.6 to Springdale, that road, they have to have someone go up and push the power lines up with a stick
Yeah. every
every time. It has to be coordinated traffic control and someone's out there raising it, lowering it. So
12.6.
Yeah, we got a couple in this town that's really.
12.6 seems a little low because I mean,
that's just.
RV is
That's
like,
Springdale.
cut off,
Yeah.
So like it,
Yeah.
you know, it gives them a little bit of a buffer, but either one doesn't matter. 14 feet doesn't
How
matter.
tall is your RV, Stacy? 12.6?
Yeah.
The drape? That's about the height, the maximum height that I've seen one.
yeah.
I've lost an air conditioner cover before, just because you turn on the Westville on that road right there, just because it hangs so low that it took it off.
Yeah, the air conditioner's usually like 13.2.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
You want to change to 14, let's just do it.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the business item. Where are we? Thank you. That we approve business item 4, an ordinance amending and restating Title 7, Chapter 6, Tocqueville City Code to clarify requirements for maintenance of trees, shrubs, bushes, and other vegetation in public streets, sidewalks, and right of way with the change that we make the height 14 feet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item?
How about 13.6? There's a reason.
Yeah, Wayne doesn't want to have to go home and cut down half his trees.
No, I only got one limb that's like 13.8 or something there, but that's that.
Buy a different tape measure.
I would add, Councilman Sands brought this to my attention this afternoon, and I did see a mix of some cities at 13, some cities at 14. So
I'm on a
it's-
rural road.
You're on next to a bridge that only allows so much weight over it too. So you're kind of
Seen
protected.
that.
You're kind of protected on that one. So,
I'd like to keep the motion where it is, just to align with UDOT.
all right. More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item E5, discuss the possible action on approving a contract increase of $45,000 with Applied Geotechnical Engineering Consultants Incorporated to cover the revised scope of work. Darren, is this you or Ben?
This is me.
Okay.
So essentially, if you remember in your packets, you've got the original contract. When the slope cut there began to fall, the rocks and things. This is when we got the UDOT geotechnical group as well as AGEC engaged into finding a solution to what we needed to happen with the cut slopes. And they came in with a dollar amount of that $180,000. At that, and there was original scope, as you can see in the original contract in there. It has a scope to essentially study only the slopes, do the borings, the logs, the different types of things that they were going to do there. Essentially, once that happened, we found the sand pocket. We found a couple of other issues with other things as he has outlined in his letter there. So on that cut slope, I'm just going to pull it up real quickly. Essentially, the overburden of the soil and the sand, the basalt, the cemented sand and gravel, and the mudstone. So they did that, but then there was the additional work that they needed to do. Also, the rocks that were falling, the hazard rocks that are coming down along the existing State Route 17. So essentially, they've been doing this work all as we've asked. It's just they've extended the contract. And in the original one, the original contract, that it does call it out as an estimate, and it gives us a scope. But that scope did change per requirements and asks of UDOT as well as the city. So, and he performed all of those. And this is what the letter that you have in front of you or in your package.
Does this continue to go
talks about.
forward from here, or is this catch up?
So when he,
It's a long time coming here.
yeah, so let me close that one. Sorry, I opened it on one, but
This is primarily housekeeping.
Yeah.
And all these
Yeah.
invoices have been paid.
It's already been paid.
so most all of them except for the number 12 that's included in the letter, essentially. All of that was in the original one. So they had the UDOT review process, the sand pocket, the north sand pocket, the other sand pocket, the overhang basalt, and then the rockfall hazard on SR 17 are the additional ones. He's asking for the additional 45,000 on top of what he had because of the additional items we asked and UDOT asked for clarification as he worked back and forth with UDOT's geotechnical group as well. And so
Wasn't,
Why did we need it on 11.7 to go out there and tell us the rockfall hazard? Was that
because it was
the
asked of,
recommendation just fell?
it was asked by UDOT.
It fell though. Everybody knew it was going to
Yeah,
fall.
and his recommendation came back that it needed to come down. And so we had gotten a bid to have a contractor to go out there and bring that down. There's a group that's called, I can't remember the name of them, but they go out and they mitigate rockfall hazards. They do it all over the state, everywhere from
So
Cedar Mountain.
They fell them
Where they
rocks
have
off.
that, yeah, they fall those rocks off. They'll get in there and do like a hydraulic
Scale.
ram behind it, push it down. They'll make sure that they catch it. Make sure that the road is protected, that there's traffic control in
Is this
place.
coming out of the original road budget?
Yeah, and so this is all part of the road budget from the state. So really, as he coordinated and talked with UDOT, it's UDOT's back and forth the money that they allocated to Tokerville City for this project.
my only question is, so AGEC was contracted for the north and the south slope. Why were they on the sand pocket? Because that should have been Landmark and should have been,
Because he was asked,
He was asked just 'cause he was on the
Landmark
job.
Landmark did not get asked to do that portion of it back in the day. It was directed through AGEC. And so, yeah,
Which one recommended the expanding foam?
he did.
AGEC.
AGEC. And it's not foam. If you climb up there and grab it, it's actually a dense, it looks like the stuff you spray in the wall. It definitely does. I agree.
It's squishy though. It's already contracted away. It doesn't do any good, but
Yeah. I don't know. That's his recommendation though, was one of his recommendations to do that because of that overhang. That's what he's talking about in his, in the additional costs, the overhang on the basalt. So, because they thought that basalt was going to fall as well.
So Darren, this
The sand
is over,
foam shrunk away from it.
this is over 18 months since the original proposal. This is a surprise to me. Was it not a surprise, or did we know all along that we were going to get this?
Well, we've been paying these as an overage, as a professional service, and as a continued ask by UDOT as well as the contractors, the city as well. Just their additional time. So it's not like we're paying for it. We've already paid for it. He's already extended. He just says, hey, I'd like to let you know that we are done at $41,875 and change. But he says, I'm just asking for the additional, and there's an extra additional $3,000. But he believes that he is done. He's provided all the reports, the studies to UDOT that they've requested in his recommendations. So UDOT has leaned on his opinion and his research and his engineering to give proper recommendations so that will not fall, and also those cement walls and different things at the bottom.
So do we have an issue with the original engineering being faulty?
With landmark testings,
The original
There was
engineering
there was
that
no engineering on that cut.
there was
The
none.
layback. So they just came in and did the layback portion. So that's why these guys brought in.
But the city never hired the original engineer. It wasn't our contract. We didn't. It was developer driven. So yeah, there's no.
But this AGEC's was actually asked by Tokerville City to do this work.
Okay.
Just because of different recommendations from UDOT. They wanted a different geotechnical engineer.
And that's coming out of the road fund as
It
well?
is.
It is.
Except all this is coming out of the bypass money.
Yeah. None of these are on general fund allocations.
So, any more questions?
Oh, ready for motion?
Yeah.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the contract increasing $45,000 to AGEC to cover the revised scope of work.
Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item? Need a roll call vote. Start with you, Chuck.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, we're done with our business items for this evening, so we're moving on to our Board of Canvassers. So we need to convey as the Board of Canvassers. Emily, this is you, correct?
Yes. So I'm just going to note that it's 6:33. So as the Board of Canvassers, you're here to certify the results from the November 4th election. We just received those today from the county. Got a packet in front of you with them in there. First, I want to thank all the candidates for being so patient with me and so great to work with through this election. It's been nice. Both Val and Dan also reached out today to me because they couldn't be here. So they wanted to just make sure that we convey their appreciation for everyone who has served, will continue to serve the city as a part of this process. This was my first election, so it was a steep learning curve. As the recorder working with the county, our roles mostly focused around the financial disclosures and working with the candidates directly. We also did all of the public noticing. So sometimes the county would provide those public notices and send them to us, and sometimes we would create them and notice them. There was a schedule that the Lieutenant Governor's office sends out, and all the recorders receive that. We follow that schedule very closely. We worked closely with the elections team at the county. They have been super helpful, very grateful for them, and the Lieutenant Governor's office, and all the recorders in the state. It's a really good group of people, and everybody is super helpful. So I think it went smoothly. Mary and I learned a lot, and we're excited to apply that to the next election. In your packet, you'll find all the different reports that the county provided with us. There's the overall results. There's the results by precinct. So precinct 1 is everything west of the boulevard, and precinct 2 is everything east of the boulevard. And then the statistics for all the ballots, including the provisional and uncured ballots. I'll hit the main points on all of those and then let me know if you have any questions before we make a motion to certify them. So we have 1,209 active voters in Tokerville. We had 705 total ballots counted. So we had a 58.3% voter turnout. 692 were mail ballots counted, and that includes all the drop boxes. And 2 of them were in-person early voting ballots, and 10 of them were in-person election day ballots. 1 was a provisional ballot, and that one was counted. So we had 100% percentage of provisional ballots that were counted. 9 were challenged curable ballots. 6 of those were not cured. 4 of them were because the envelopes with the signature did not match the voter registration signature, and 2 of them were just unsigned. So everyone received a letter from the county on those. If they provided any other contact information, phone number, or email, the county also reached out to them that way. So we had 66.7% of our curable ballots not cured. We had 12 total rejected non-provisional ballots, and those were all because they were returned after the received by deadline. We had 1.7% of our ballots returned as undeliverable. So those are the main stats. And then in terms of the votes, so for mayor, Dan Catlin had 352 votes. Justin Sipp had 347. Tokerville City Council, Jenny Chamberlain had 364. Gary Chaves had 350. Dan Westwood had 168. And Wayne Olson had 393. And for our special 2-year seat for City Council, Chuck Williams had 280. And Valerie Pressler had 397. So the elected officials for these seats are would be Dan Catlin then for mayor, Jenny Chamberlain and Wayne Olson for city council, and for the 2-year city council seat is Valerie Pressler. Any questions?
Questions, anybody?
I think you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
What if the city council wasn't confirming?
You have to have proof of why it should not be confirmed.
Stupid question.
It just goes to show every vote counts.
That's right,
does.
everyone.
Every
Yeah.
vote counts.
I agree.
All right, so we need to just,
Make a motion
Make
to
a motion.
certify. Yep.
Mayor, make a motion to certify the November 4th, 2025 election.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item? All right, we'll start with a roll call vote on your side, Joey.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries. All right, so we just need to adjourn this canvassers. All right, we have calendar of events, Tokerville Trail.
motion to adjourn?
Oh, do we?
canvassers?
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the Board of Canvassers.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
It is 6:39 and the canvassers, Board of Canvassers is not closed. All right, now we're moving on to our calendar events. Tokerville Trail Turkey Trot, November 27th, Thursday. Christmas tree lighting, Monday, December 1st, 6 p.m. here at the Old Town Hall. Hopefully the weather is nice because we're going to be doing most of it outside. I think it's going to be great. Winter community cleanup, Saturday, December 6th to Sunday, December 7th, 2025, Center Street Park, Westfield Park, TRE Park. Wreaths Across America, Saturday, December 13th at 10 a.m. at Tokerville Cemetery. That is always, I think Greg Turner is doing that again. So Greg does a wonderful job. And Bailey, yeah, Bailey's involved as well, but yeah. I don't think we need a closed meeting this evening. No reason to.
So question on the winter community cleanup.
Mhm.
It's going to be at all 3 parks?
Yeah, there'll be a dumpster.
Okay, that's just the dumpsters there. Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So, yep, dumpsters, that way you don't have to go out to the dump.
And
So,
what about the leaf pickup? How's that going to work? Do you know?
I need to get clarification before I made that. I believe it's Wednesdays, but we'll put it out on social media
Okay,
as a means to get that communicated.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
A motion? The second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned at 6:40. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for all your service.
You're welcome. Before you leave, Sapp Brothers, Dan's in the back. I should have said this earlier. There's a bunch of donuts and cookies